Don't wanna tell you what it is. Oh wait, it felt so serious. Got me thinking just too much. I wanna shut it out. What is this one thing that got me tripping? Is this one thing that got me tripping? You did this one thing, you so baby feel it. Is this one thing you did?
Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of SS Performance. Behind me we've got a forged Glanza, what we just mapped, and we took it out for a broke test and head gasket's gone. So I'll explain to you why these head gaskets are rubbish. We took it out for a rope test and we did one pull. It survived the dyno session. We did one pull on the rope test and the head gasket's completely gone. It's running only on 2 cylinders. So the reason why these head gaskets go, because Athena, they had a bad batch and this one has one on it. So this engine's just been built really, and it's been running on a dyno and mapped, and the first pull we did on the street it just went. And also we are changing the turbo because it's a TDL5 20 gram hybrid and it's way too laggy. It comes in about 6,000 RPM and then boost comes in for about 1.5k, so it's not good for this turbo. This turbo is not really good for this 1.3. You need something to spool it. So the customer's buying a 13 tooth hybrid TDL4, so we've got to supply that. So the first thing is we've got to take the turbo kit off because the customer wants to get it ceramic coated, and also we just got to take the head off to get it skimmed and pressure tested. And then we just ordered a new kinetic head gasket. That's all we use in our builds. We never have no issues with head gasket failures. You could have the 1 or 2 because it's a 40 head gasket, it can happen, but we don't really see that happen. So that's all we use is kinetic head gaskets. So I want to start stripping this head off. All you got to really do, when you don't need to take everything off, you pull the inlet manifold off, you get the fuel rail off, of course it's in the way. You just get the inlet manifold bolts and push the inlet manifold out the way. Nothing gets damaged or anything, you just put it out the way. So obviously the turbo kit's coming off. Normally it's unbolt the turbo and push it to the side and you can pull the head off. Obviously you've got to take the timing cover off and the cam belt and all the stuff around here, what's connected to the head, like the coolant pipes, etc. You wouldn't have to drain it as well, but we're going to just drain it anyway. This head gasket failure is not cause of the mapping, just really bad head gaskets. And when Sean took the customer out for the first pull, it come back, I was like, oh god, the head gasket's gone. And Sean said, guess what head gasket's on it? And I said, Athena, straight away. He said, yeah, that's correct. We've had a couple of engines down here now with head gasket failures, and it's always cause of Athena. It's never really kinetic really. And like with kinetic head gaskets, we have seen people actually reuse them. This guy called Matt Berry in Australia, he's reused his kinetic head gasket a couple of times and they still work fine. That's so it shows how these kinetic head gaskets are pretty bulletproof. So I want to explain why it's gone, and it's going to be, I think it's 2 and 3 it went. When we took off the HT lead, you can obviously pop it up and it's still misfiring, and when you take off one, it's going to run on 2 cylinders. So I'm going to start stripping this, stop talking now, and let's crack on. So I currently sent the car in the air. I've taken out the Civic half rad out, boost pipes and etc, all the wiring loom. Just disconnected the exhaust from the downpipe and also the oil feed pipe. The turbo is pretty big, so it's going to have a bit of a struggle. So I'm going to take the downpipe off, so it should have more room getting the turbo out. So I currently took all the bolts out off the downpipe from the exhaust housing of the turbo side. So there's one bolt left and then the downpipe should pull out. There we go. So the exhaust manifold's off now. That turbo was a bit of a pain getting out. All left to do is now is inlet manifold side and the timing side. So I'm going to take the strut brace off to give a lot more access to the plugs and all the vacuum lines. So we're just undone the fuel rail AN fitting lines. We're going to just take his fuel cap off now, so release pressure for the fuel system. So these won't leak anymore. So the fuel rail is off now. All left to do now is the coolant lines. There's 3 here holding on to the thermostat housing, and Sean's just currently taking off the timing cover as we speak. And there's 5 bolts, 5 nuts holding on the inlet, and we can should just pull it to the side, and then when we're about to pull the head off, we'll push this out the way without it won't damage any components, and then you should be able to lift the head up. So the committed head gasket has come in the post. Sean's taking the last bolt off the inlet manifolds to push out the way for the head. All we've got left to do is now take the caps off the cams out, head bolts out, and it should just pull off. And then we can take this head today to get it skimmed and pressure tested, and then put this commit head gasket back on with a smaller turbo, as I already said, a TDI4 13 tooth hybrid. The spool really quick, so be a nice 280 brake to 300 brake mark, hopefully. So just took the cams out now and the caps out as well. Inlet manifold is off, but there's a bracket what bolts to the inlet. There's two bolts up there, and the one at the block what holds it. Just it's like a strut race basically, so that's why we can't pull it out. So we'll undo that, send it back down, crack the head bolts off, and lift the head up and see what damages this Athena head gasket's done. So the back bracket's off now, so this should just slide off with one hand to see. Yeah, so it's off the head now. All I've got left to do now is just the head bolts. It's a special socket and a tool you'll use to get these off. So I'm going to get this, crack all the head bolts off, and then just gun them off because they're more cracked, they're more loose, so it won't damage the head. And make sure you crack them how you would take off torque the head up as well. Okay, so the head's ready to come off now. Okay, let's push that coolant pipe out the way. Okay, it's ready to lift off. I think it's catching on something. This belt here. Oh, let me see it. Yeah, we're right. This is why you don't buy these shit head gaskets. Look at that. Head gasket delete. Look at that. How's that done there? It's starting to go on all of them. I know. Well, these head gaskets just shit. So we're just taking all the head bolts out, and Sean's put all the shims into a scrap head in the same order. All left to do is take the thermostat housing off and one of the pulleys for the cam belt. And this head can get taken to the machine shop, get it all skimmed and pressure tested, make sure the head's fine. So just currently drain all the coolant at the block now, because you see there was all coolant in there. There's like a plug that keeps all the coolant into the block, so I just drain that all out. So I'm just getting it all prepped and ready, and Sean's already took the head to the engine place, so that'll be back in like a day or two. So I just start prepping the block and everything ready for the new head gasket to go on. So I'll see you guys in about 2 days time. So just clean the block surface up. So now we're going to just put the new committed head gasket on. The head's just got back as well, so we're going to place that on as well with it. So here's the head now. It's all been skimmed and pressure tested. It's all okay, the head is. So I'm going to put the head on. Just put the head on now. So I'm gonna get the head bolts in now. So, as you saw, the head's been torqued up. I just put some sealer on the thermostat housing, cleaned it all up inside, and now I'm going to just bolt it onto the head and start putting all the coolant lines on, and then can start bolting up the inlet manifold, and then we can start building the head up because we're still waiting for his turbo kit. So let's start getting the other stuff on. So that's the thermostat bolted on with all the coolant lines and the vacuum line onto the inlet, onto the thermostat housing. Inlet manifold is the gaskets on as well, holding in by one nut. So I'm going to start getting all that back together, and then realistically I just got to build the head, all the shims back in, cams, caps, it's already timed up. We just did a little bit of a little easy way to get this back on. We'll put a cable tie, so just slot right on, and it should line up with the marks and the timing. So we don't really need to time it up. Obviously we're going to just double check just in case, because it can cause power loss. So I'm not going to put the Civic rad in yet, because turbo kit needs to come from this way to there. So there's a top man turbo. It's a bit awkward to get in and out, so you have to physically take the half rad if you can't get it out. You can't drop it on the floor, it could come out. Depends what size turbo you got on it really. But the TDR4 and the one I had the other day, the TDR5 hybrid, was massive, so you have to pull it to the side. Not like this one. This car, yeah, you don't need to take the rad out. You can just pull the turbo out and put it back in this way. Just all you gotta do is take the screw and pipe off on these turbo kits. This one's due to mapping soon. Turbo, just had it reconned. So this is gonna make some lovely power. I'll get a video of this as well. So I forgot to record the outro for this video. This is where the car was on the dyno previously, and when we took on the road test here, the gasket went. So I'm going to do another video of this, so there will be a part 2 shortly dropping out. So I hope you guys have liked this video. Make sure to subscribe and like to the channel, and drop a comment for any questions. See you guys next time.